of Post-Apocalyptia. We are online for a new Experimental Times Saturday podcast.
Gonna be freaking sweet!
Let's hope so. It is the weekend.
I just got the notification that we are live, so hello, humans.
Yeah, I know there's like I think a 10-second delay or something like that, at least based on experiments we've had in the past, so...
Something like that.
Yeah, we'll see if anyone actually shows up, or they're all busy doing stuff.
Doing the stuff, doing the things. We're not important. We're just a stupid little follow Equestria channel. Nobody gives a shit.
I have very fancy black tea I found in his tea cupboard.
Oh my god, he's drinking tea. I stand corrected.
What?
He...
What else would I be drinking?
No, because, like, when you were gone, I was like, oh, he's making coffee, and then someone's like, oh, he's making tea, and I was like, no, he doesn't drink tea, he's a redneck. Wait, redneck is not PC, he's a good old boy.
I drink both coffee and tea. If there's no coffee, I'll drink tea.
I mean, in its purest form, coffee is superior to tea, but caffeine is easier to put in certain drinks. Like, I started drinking these B-A-I drinks, and these yerba, like, sparkling waters, and they have, I want to say white tea extract for the
Those
caffeine.
sound super white.
Yeah,
It
they
really
are,
does.
but they're also 0 calorie, which is great.
Who cares about calories?
It's, yeah, they're decently flavored.
Yeah, can't handle caffeine these days.
Caffeine makes the world go round.
Yeah. Well, with me, it kills my stomach.
So you don't drink it on an empty stomach.
Well, believe me, I've drinking it on a full stomach, empty stomach. It still makes me sicker than a dog.
The key is you just drink the beans directly.
You eat them!
Oh, chocolate-covered coffee beans.
Yes, yeah, that's good too. I remember when I was doing them, especially in school, like doing finals and midterms and stuff, I'd get a bunch of those espresso chocolate beans and just chew through them through the night.
Mouthfuls.
That helped me, yeah, that kept me going for quite a few classes.
Oh, we're live. I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're live. We got tired of you taking forever.
Yeah, so hopefully people out there in Post-Apocalyptia have enjoyed our random one-shot, two-shot video release, the Twin Terrors, which is something we've been actually working on for a long time. It was just like an idea that popped up early in the year, and originally my story of the two was going to be what became freaking Come to Me, but I wanted to do that more like poetic and sing-songy, and then when we like stretch out the length of the 25 minutes each, obviously wasn't long enough, so I ended up doing my story instead.
I definitely enjoyed it. It was very, very gripping.
I didn't listen to it, I'm an ass.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I haven't actually listened to James yet. I know the generalities of it, but I haven't had time. It's freaking work and everything else has just kept me too busy.
Right, I've been working 55-hour weeks. I'm exhausted.
I'm not looking forward to my 65-hour weeks coming up.
Yeah.
I broke 40 hours in 3 days last week.
Whoa.
You're driving and stuff. I'm sitting at a desk. There's nothing to keep me entertained.
I'm actually not driving anymore. I'm running local. I'm running a shuttle.
A shuttle?
Well, shuttling from a factory to a warehouse.
Nice.
So, like...
$23 an hour.
You're transferring people?
I'm transferring equipment.
So that's not as fun. Is the equipment to make people into food?
Oh, yeah,
No,
that's
but
the next step.
It's Genie products, if you know what those are. Like
Nope.
scissors and stuff.
No.
Industrial equipment.
Oh, yeah, the scissor lifts. Yeah. We
Scissor
had one of
lifts,
those for
boom
the
lifts,
school.
all
Yeah.
fun of the stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Made by Terex Very good company. They're also hiring.
I always freak out when people go up on those things because it looks so precariously high for the center of gravity. Like they are beefy, they have a big load, but yeah.
There's a reason you can't climb on them without safety harness.
Oh,
if you don't clip in, it will launch you. If you're lifting up a boom and like happen to hop a curb while driving it.
Interesting.
They don't have stabilizers.
Well, I wouldn't move. I wouldn't drive the thing while I was up in the thing. I would lower it all the way first. I mean,
oh, even when it's down on the ground, yeah, on those boom lifts, oh, it can get sketchy.
Yeah, I'd rather not. It's not. That was never in my wheelhouse. I was never a person for heights or anything.
Neither was I. Now I want to skydive, so I don't know what's wrong.
You're crazy.
That's the opposite. I still don't know how they train animals to jump, to be honest. Like, you see, like, these, like, army, like, 82nd, like, paratroopers and stuff. I'm like, how the hell do you train a dog to skydive or parachute?
They don't. They actually kind of, most of the time, they strap them to their own carrier vests.
Well, yeah, obviously they're
their own
connected.
little harnesses.
But, I mean, just the actual action of jumping out of a plane, you think they'd be, like, writhing and seizing like they're, you know, they're gonna die, which is what any animal would think.
They go through just as rigorous a training as the soldiers do.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Usually from birth, so they're conditioned for it.
Well, yeah, that's gotta be.
What is this person saying about morphing amphibians into homosexuals?
They're turning
You got a
freaking
problem with
frogs gay.
homosexuals?
It's the Jones quote. Jones posting.
Jones posting?
Don't judge the zebras. They're strange characters, but still.
All right, we
Gross.
back.
Is this cool enough to drink yet?
I don't know. Shove it in your face and find out.
That's what she said.
Yeah, I know. That is what I said.
Oh no, that's way too hot. That's still boiling. Not doing that.
Don't do that. It hurts.
So that one's a hot chocolate. Not a fun day.
We're talking about coffee and tea, and you're like, hot chocolate.
Well, I'm a very simple person. I'm very simple.
Yeah, I broke out hot chocolate for the first time yesterday. That was a nice way to really start the holiday season.
It really is.
It's finally cold
I gotta
enough
go to
here in
Costco. I gotta get my friend to take me to Costco. They have these pretzels, like these thin pretzels that are covered in vanilla, and they have peppermint bark all over them.
Oh yeah, that's
So fucking good.
Oh, that does sound good.
Yeah, our family too. We always have so many different treats and things for the holidays because all these like different traditions combined. And for me, the holidays are always so busy because we have like 4 birthdays in the family between freaking like the equinox and the New Year's. So this is so busy all these months.
Yeah, I know how that goes. Sort of. I was born on like a day after Thanksgiving or something.
Oh yeah.
My family's busy.
This year,
February.
my birthday falls on Thanksgiving. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, nasty.
Yeah, I had a friend who his birthday was the day after Christmas, and that it's
Oh.
always unfortunate. I know because you know they never get the separate celebrations.
Am I being picked up?
Say again.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm just being steamrolled. Gotcha.
I haven't actually heard you try to talk through all that.
I have been trying to talk, but I get steamrolled. Hence the steamroll. Also, Krellick is here. Why are you not talking?
I'm waiting for you guys to finish talking.
Okay, well.
We finished talking?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you gotta contribute to the conversation, my dude.
I don't want to
sit there and
steamroll.
lurk like a lurker, like a creep. To the creep. Ah, I just listened to that song earlier. It's a good song. It's funny.
Skywalt, you can expect some sketches today of that thing you told me about.
Oh, great. Yes. We
Charlie,
always have the wheels of...
Don't talk about projects while you're on the podcast that aren't finished.
Yes, we have a lot of good things in the works right now, so it's should be coming out at some point. we're always always pushing forward on things. I know I'm trying to find more time to finish or do more confessions writing, but that's been tricky. I really have not had any time left. Like even the Twin Terrors thing, my thing, which was Shadows, I actually wrote it like. I'm trying to think when I finished it. We started it, and James and I finished mine mostly in like January or February, and then it sort of sat in like the warehouse from Indiana Jones for a while. And then once James finally was happy with his, then broke it out, and we did the soundscaping, which was obviously a little new. I questioned James when he first delivered his side of it, because he has all these like sort of normal-ish like background score pieces, but they're all from the Frederator library, because now that we're like the Frederator Studios group thing, which apparently someone was wondering if that was like the same as we were like full screen with Rooster Teeth, and it's not. Like full screen with the whole Rooster Teeth thing, they bought them outright, and they sent like, they have like corporate suits in the Rooster Teeth building now, which is why all their content's become so bleached and homogenized. For us, I mean, this is just like a YouTube, like what do they call that, the ad sharing network. So we make money, period, from the channel, because the Frederator people run the ads, and they get their cut, and at the same time, it's sort of like an extra layer of protection. So, because I went through all this when I did it on my channel like 3 years ago, and I went through the guy and I talked to him like, hey, just letting you know, I do like parodies, and I use instrumentals and stuff. He's like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. It's like, if we can monetize it, we flip it off and it's all fine. So it's nice having that sort of like that extra shell of like separation. Plus, the YouTube algorithm is actually kind of stupid, so you can trick it really easily in a lot of cases. That's like when some people want to like watch a show on YouTube still, like whole channels can upload episodes as long as they like flip the frame like horizontally in reverse and maybe like pitch down the audio a few like a few halftones or semitones. It's crazy what you can do to get through it.
I know that.
Yeah. So, So we went through that, and but apparently, being part of the Frederator like creative group, we have like an account on their website, and they have a whole bunch of like sound files and clips and stuff that we can use in just any of our productions, because it's very animator oriented. So the common Frederator contributor person is like, think of like, well, I guess Tyler Teschke, if we're going back to Stable Tech days, or like Jan Animations, where it's some guy or gal who's just an animator, and so of course they need music to back up whatever thingy they're animating. And so it's an interesting library, and James dug into it way more than I did, so that's why his thing probably sounds a little bit better produced than some of the music on mine, because I went through, I just used Balefire Symphony stuff, and then we have a deal with Seventh Element. We can use all his different Fallout Equestria songs, because he's sort of a friend of the studio, so that's great.
Oh, that's handy.
Yeah, plus I always liked his stuff. Seventh Element has great like background music kind of Fallout Equestria stuff, and so of course my story, if you actually listen to Shadows, it involves like the Ministry of Peace and stuff, so I was able to use his Ministry of Peace track and the Fluttershy track for different bits of the audio, and yeah, it was fun. Just something different we were doing, where basically we had these two stories that didn't really fit anywhere in our other productions, and we might do that more down the road too. Like if we have some story that we can't really squeeze anywhere, we can plug those in.
What the fuck? Somebody just like vomited onto the chat.
Oh, yeah. What?
Oh! It's Uptown Funk.
Oh.
Oh.
I don't know the original version. I only know the parody version that the Navy did, which is really weird. But
Oh, the Navy.
yeah, Naptown Funk, which is so funny because I don't care if the Academy's there. Naptown is not Navy Town. You want Navy Town, you go to frickin' Norfolk. That's where everything is. Frickin' like 5 naval installations within a 20-mile radius.
Seattle's got quite a few, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's Naval Station Kittery.
We've got Everett, Whidbey, Bremerton. We've got Bangor, Sub Pens. We've got... Oh, there's a bunch more inside the actual sound.
Yeah, because it's like, what would you call that? It's almost like an archipelago. You've got like 10 or 20 like decently sized islands, and that's not even counting Vancouver Island.
Pretty much, yeah.
No, it's really beautiful up there. I always loved Seattle. Not enough to live there. I couldn't live there permanently because I'm too used to, growing up in California. But I guess it's coming from a California Central Valley that you're like, oh man, rain and nice overcast all the time. It's very alluring.
Hey, you get used to it, I'll tell you that much.
I remember the first time I landed at SeaTac, though, for Everfree 2013. It freaked me out because you're flying, and like we were getting low enough, you see the ground and everything, but there's no ground. It's just the evergreens. It's just all these trees. I'm like, wait a second, where's the runway? Oh, wait, no, we can't put down here. No! And then we hit it. But it's like, I mean, if we were off by like half a foot, it looked like we were just going to get sailing right through the trees.
Yep. You were coming from the northern approach.
Yeah. In the chat, the Navy is like Uber for Marines. Yeah, it was funny. Working at the shipyard, they had a saying, Marine stands for my ass rides in Navy equipment, sir. Happy birthday, Marines. You're our bitches.
People seem to forget that the Marines are actually a division of the Department of the Navy.
Yeah. I love that they're still talking about doing something similar to create like a Space Corps that then the Air Force would manage. It's like, I like that idea in theory, but we are so far away from having actual Space Marines.
We're so far away, but yet so close.
It's ridiculous. It's like
it's complicated.
First they need to make
tried
a new
so
shuttle
hard
program.
and got so far. In the end,
Doesn't really matter.
doesn't really matter.
Oh, it's gonna matter, just not right now. But yeah, it's like, I mean, how can they expect to have, we don't have a shuttle service anymore. We don't have any kind of like re-entry and exit vehicles right now. So it's just stupid.
Yeah, they've retired all of them, haven't they?
Yeah, it was sad. I remember that last flight in college of the what was it, the Atlantis or something, whatever.
Yeah, it was the Atlantis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the Russians, they actually had a shuttle program too back in the 70s or 80s, and some guy, one of those abandoned places photographers, he tracked down one of their cosmodromes in like Kazakhstan.
Strela, that guy who does it in Russia.
Yeah, I think it was him. And
I've seen that.
And he found the big warehouse where one of their two, I forget what they called the shuttles, but one of the two is still kind of sitting there. It's obviously not flyable, but it's like mostly one piece, and it's crazy.
Yeah,
like,
it's just decaying.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of old Soviet stuff that's always what I think would actually like that could like start an accidental nuclear war, is like some old Soviet silo, just like it gets a fried wire or something and just launches. Because that's the thing with like Russian equipment versus American equipment. Russian technology was always fail negative, or what do they call that? Fail deadly. Which means if something breaks in the thing explodes, like their mines in Afghanistan. Whereas American mines, it's fail safe. So if something breaks, you're not getting any boom. And I can only assume that their nuclear weapons are the same way.
Yeah.
They did that on purpose, though, to like keep them out of the hands of the Americans.
Especially the what is it? They have something called the perimeter, or colloquially it was called the dead hand system, which is if every Russian died, like, and their earthquake alarms or whatever detect a detonation, like if we hit them first. They have a whole computerized, an old analog signal code from like the 70s where it like pings the Kremlin and then it pings like the local like missile silo operator, and if no one stops it, it launches.
So kind of like 1101.
It's a dead hand switch.
Yeah, kind of like EC 1101 then.
Fucking somebody's asleep in the Kremlin and doesn't notice it.
I mean. Yeah, you read about some of those incidents during the Cold War, and there's like 5 or 6 times that it was really like one guy that stopped the apocalypse.
Yeah, like that one sub-captain who...
In the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh.
I see someone in the chat about Silent Black was better. Silent Black was not better, because it was about zebras.
Fuck zebras.
Oh, hey, Caleb Hiles just released a video.
It was funny because mine was actually the core idea for it was a rejected confessions concept, which was I was going to have an episode where a character was blind throughout like the entire thing, and it was actually one of the early ideas for the Ice Mare for frickin' Freezy, where she was going to wake up and she was going to like stay blind, and then once they got her out of the facility, like they cracked the door, then everything would light up, where basically she has like 2 polarized like radiation vision, so she can only see radiation heat and everything else looks like darkness.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that was the original intention, but of course I mutated it a bit into what that became.
I fucked up.
Would the military spaceship be under Air Force or Navy? Apparently Air Force, because I guess they've submitted bills to Congress like 20 times now for creating a Space Corps division of the Air Force. And essentially it's like the Marines with the Navy, where it'd be a subdivision. And then the Army's just sitting there like whatever.
Pretty much. And yeah, it would be the Air Force because most pilots, or the astronauts are usually Air Force pilots.
Usually, but there's quite a few Navy people across space history, NASA history.
There are too, yeah, there are.
It's
military in general.
Yeah, in terms of organization, they should give it to the Navy, because the Air Force are a bunch of like, sticks up their ass kind of people. But at the same time, the Navy is also kind of like fast and loose, which wouldn't be good for like shuttle design and maintenance.
Yeah.
I mean, when we got ships back in the shipyard, I mean, half of our job was, okay, let's see what they randomly welded to the bulkhead to fix something, and then we have to like update our drawings with whatever crazy shit the maintainers did, and then we do a proper design from there.
Sounds about right.
Well, if it works in the situation, use it.
I'm gonna start banning people
together, because friendship is magic. Ah.
Yeah, friendship is magic. Imaginary.
It's imaginary.
Imagination.
I had a friend who used to be able to sing the Imagination Land song.
God damn it.
It was really impressive. I'm like, how the fuck did you memorize that?
Lots of time and lots of patience.
Yeah.
Lots of time and nothing better to do with their life.
That was funny. That was a great TV movie. I thought South Park doing that was better than their continuous season storylines. Like, it was the same with the Mysterion, where they just did like the 4-part like back-to-back special, and they brought in Cthulhu and all that. Like that felt more like in keeping with the South Park humor style.
Yeah.
And then, of course, after this season, they're definitely not doing continuous storylines anymore.
No, they kind of screwed that up big time. And they know it.
Yeah. I mean, it was cringeworthy watching the whole season, and then everything goes wrong, and then it's like, oh my god, there's no humor here. It's just the most pandering shit. Like, oh gosh. But anyway.
I know, I never ever got into South Park myself.
Zebra swearing. Yeah, no, yeah, James has fun with that. Absolutely. Yeah, I just leave him to do the zebra stuff. Because that was the other thing with James. He's freaking in that one episode of Wasteland Survival Guide, the Great War Alliances, he, like, basically dibs, like, 5 or 6 different species. And I'm like, you son of a bitch. And that was the episode, too, where it was the only time I had to, like veto power on something, because he included a whole section on the Crystal Empire, which I had already told him about and retconned the Northern Crystal Commonwealth stuff for Ice Mare, because I gave him his part of the script like 6 months before that, and I'm like, okay, bro, come on, you've got all this other shit with the yaks and the centaurs and whatnot, just that's enough. So now I'm starting to pick my own creatures that I'm dibsing in the story. And Needle knows a bit about that. We were talking yesterday, so that'll be coming out
soon. It's gonna be fantastic.
It's gonna be cute. I'm actually really happy with what we talked about, and something interesting. So, yeah, no, and we also had a planning meeting for Wasteland Survival Guide, so we've got the next freaking giant set of chapters planned out. We're not even halfway done yet with what's on the books, and yeah, then we'll see if by the end of next year we wrap, or if we end up doing, you know, a few other odd things, and yeah, we're already working off the plans for, like, how to put the binding together of, like, the actual, like, book, with the text, and then we're also looking at ideas for how to, like, string everything together into a continuous audiobook. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm already looking forward to it.
I already said I'm going to have some kind of an identity crisis because I won't be derpy anymore. It'd be weird.
Yeah.
You're always going to be derpy.
Yay!
But that's a long ways off. We still have a lot of stuff before then.
Oh, so, speaking of derpy, anybody here going to EQLA? Because I will be there for an EAST Corp Productions panel.
Yes. Yeah, anyone in the chat.
Oh.
Or yeah, in general. Yeah.
I know Indy's not, because Indy's a faggot, but hey.
I gotta work.
Yeah, same with me. I wanted to go, but I got a work thing and a family thing one of the birthdays, so
I, like, had to push, like, fight tooth and nail. I can't tell you how many times I've had to remind my company that I'm going to be gone next week. At least 12.
My boss is the same way, where I put in a submission like, okay, this is the time off, and they'll sign it and give it back to me, and I'm like, okay, I hope that means it's on the books. And then one time I was out sick. It was a doctor's appointment that, again, I'd scheduled like a month in advance, and he's like, where are you? I'm like, I'm at the doctor's. I have this, like, big, like, thing, and they're like, I thought you were just going to be gone in the morning. I'm like, I put down it's all day because it's on the other side of town, and by the time I leave at 2 p.m., I'm not going to be back to the office by 3:30. I'm not coming in for 1 hour. That's with a 45-minute commute. No. It's like, so now I'm on the system of, like I'm emailing them, like, a few days before the actual thing happens to be like, just a reminder, I'm not going to be here at this point.
I'm going to have to do that for High Roller.
Yeah.
In June. I got my leave approved, but, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's the same for me. It's like, as soon as I make sure I can take both of those off, High Roller and Babs, then yes, I'm going to put them in and make sure they know I'm going to be gone so nothing comes up.
Oh, you're actually going to High Roller.
I want to go to High Roller, absolutely. I love Vegas.
All of my previous jobs have
been
been
to save up money for it.
Allowing me to, like, schedule time off as soon as I know I'm going to do a thing. But this job is like, nope, you can only schedule it out a maximum of 3 months.
That sucks.
3 months in advance. It's usually how it goes unless it's actual vacation time.
No, like, even for vacation time. They're like, you can only schedule it out a maximum of 3 months. So all of the cons that I have like a little alarm going to let me know the day that 3 months hits.
That sounds like a horrible, like, dibs war, too. Like, as soon as you're 3 months out from Christmas, it's like then everyone floods them with requests so they can make sure they get the time off.
Christmas is actually, we have Christmas off.
Oh, good.
But the 26th, nobody can ask for it off, period.
Oh, that sucks.
See, my company, with I get 2 weeks off for Christmas and New Year's. At 40 hours a week. I get guaranteed 40 hours.
Yeah, see, that's why I was talking about, like, a Christmas, like, a whole week. This year, especially because of the way the holidays fall, I'm taking off the week between Christmas and New Year's, and, like, I think the Friday before Christmas also. So that's just, like, you know, a continuum.
Yeah. Well, no, the factory shuts down for 2 weeks for the holidays, and my company, it's not that we don't work, it's we can't work. So we get paid anyway. Yeah, no, that was the same at the shipyard where everything's closed, so you have to take 2 weeks of time off, and they would warn us for months in advance, like, make sure you got your full time off for those weeks. Well, no, we don't even have to put in time off for it. It's guaranteed 40 hours. Oh, that's good.
Oh, nice.
If we don't hit 40 hours in a week, we're guaranteed at least 40 hours.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's basically salary with incentive. They just don't want to word it like that. Shoot, I gotta grab something real quick. I'll be right back.
Oh, you're not allowed to. You left
hey, you can talk now, Needle.
I know, right? Kralik is the one who's not talking. He's just chilling.
That is true. Kralik, talk. Kralik? Oh, he left.
I'm just gonna kick him to take away the bandwidth, and he can hop back on. Just so that we don't have any issues with reception.
Yeah.
Okay, now the inmates are on the asylum.
I'm not an inmate. I'm one of the guards.
Oh, rats. Okay, never mind.
Who said we're inmates anyway? We might be here voluntarily.
Noted.
Well, technically, the drones run the office.
Still not a drone. Also one of the leads.
I need to get a new battery and strap for my Luna watch.
Yay! I'm gonna dye my head next week. It's gonna be purple. I'm so excited.
Ooh, what shade of purple?
Needle stitch.
Needle stitch purple?
Yes.
I can see that working.
I've been wanting to dye my hair purple for a while. I just haven't had the money or the means to do it. And doing your own unnatural colored hair dye at home is actually a very bad idea. Because you can fry your hair, right? So a friend of mine who's really good at dyeing hair and does it all the time to his is offering to help me out. So
that's cool.
Yeah, I'm excited.
You're taking pictures, right?
No.
No? Okay.
Why would you want to see? What do you care?
Because it sounds awesome.
It is awesome because it's on me and I am awesome.
That's a plus side, yeah. Because it's you.
Still waking up.
Don't wake me up.
The Thor movie yet?
Wake me up! Wake me up inside!
Don't wake up! I think that's how it goes. I don't know. It's been a while.
Save me! Swear to God, if we get demonetized because of that, I'm gonna be so mad.
If we what?
If we get demonetized because of that, I'm gonna be so
mad. Demonetized.
Dude, one video that Sky did, it was a compilation of all of his covers. It got 6 copyright strikes in one video.
Oh my lord!
I was like,
that's why I haven't seen it from him.
So now I want to do another video that gets more than 6 copyright strikes.
The copyright podcast.
When we deliberately try to get demonetized on that one video.
It's a cover though.
It is, and it is a parodied work, but technically still considered copyright, which is bullshit.
Man, it is BS right there. Damn, easy.
I will never understand
copyright. The way copyright laws work are kind of fucked. So not all parodied works are covered. Parodied works that are made for malicious intent, like people making fun of Donald Trump, for instance, technically not considered under the Fair Use Act or something like that. And then music and things like that, they're technically copyrighted until I think like 60 years after the person dies makes it.
Makes sense.
Something like that. I don't remember the exact time. Fun fact. You ready? Fun fact. You can take pictures of the Eiffel Tower. However, it is illegal to take pictures of the Eiffel Tower at night.
Really?
Yep.
How in the world does that work?
So, the way Paris's Eiffel Tower, or Paris's copyright works is public structures are considered art. And if the artist is still alive, you cannot take pictures of it. However, if the artist has been dead for, I think, 70 years, something like that, it's a really weird number.
Are we talking about copyright law?
Yeah, we're talking about Paris's copyright law.
Ooh, fun fact about copyrights is...
I'm not done!
Okay.
Anyway, Paris's copyright laws, I think that, like, any building is considered a work of art, so it is copyrighted. And after the original builder dies and everybody who worked on the thing dies, then it is, you have to wait, I think, like 70 years before you can actually consider it a public work. And so the Eiffel Tower was made like 300 years ago, something like that. I don't remember exactly. It was like the 1700s, I think.
Oh my gosh,
but
are you kidding me?
The lights that were put onto the Eiffel Tower were only put on in the 70s. So everybody who worked on that is still alive. That is the reason why you cannot take a picture of the Eiffel Tower at night. You also cannot take a picture of the actual light. Like, if you were to get up close and take a picture of the light on the Eiffel Tower, you cannot do that. That is considered copyrighted material.
That's interesting.
Odd.
Yeah, that's the kind of shit that makes me wish for anarchism, because it's like, it's such crap. I mean, 70 years after the author died, who's benefiting from that 70 years? A bunch of, like, spoiled kids or some kind of big multinational corporation like fucking Disney? No. It's like, first of all, the author and all the original creators dying, that should be the end point of it's definitely public domain now. But in reality, in functionality, it should only be like a 20-year window, maybe max. And I think that's how the law was in, like, I want to say the 1800s or something. Copyright, it's gone through a weird evolution in the West. But for instance, H.P. Lovecraft, a lot of his material is considered public domain because he wrote most of it before 1928. And that is when some newer version of whatever Copyright Act was passed. So that's why, obviously, you can't, like, every derivative of the work is different. A performance of a work is different than the work in and of itself. So, like, you know, if someone makes a Lovecraft radio play, you can't copy that, ideally, for only 20 years. But, like... Yeah, so copyright is such bullshit. And then, yeah, the whole building thing, that's even more infuriating. It's like, what do you mean I can't take a picture of outside in the city? Yep. Like, no, that's horse shit.
Cannot take a panorama.
Yeah.
I think, personally, I'm not entirely sure why it's 70 years. It's something like that. I think the reason... Huh?
Probably because of Disney. They've lobbied the government for so many different things like that.
What are you talking about? We're talking about United Nations. We're not talking about Disney.
I'm sure it still applies.
Anyway, I think the reason why they say 70 years is to ensure everybody who originally made it died. You know what I mean?
I would love to know how many of those people like get royalties from the work, though. You think like average carpenter man is getting, you know, he's getting a few dimes for every time someone takes a picture legally of the Empire State Building or whatever? It's like, no, that's bullshit. So I don't know. That's one of those things that's always infuriated me about like it's the essence of like a public work. And it's like, yes, for a few years, sure, you can keep things, you can have some kind of barrier, you know, all the brand new grand opening and all that and skyline pictures, but it's like at some point it's a part of the public. At some point it's in the domain of the public. So I don't know. That kind of stuff. Some
bullshit.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of Disney, I found out something weird a couple days ago.
Disney fucking sucks.
YouTube, a YouTuber by the name of Mr. H did a video that Disney is trying to buy the movie section of 20th Century Fox.
Yeah, I hate that. Yep. I do not like that whatsoever.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
Real quick, before we keep going forward, on Eiffel Tower. So Eiffel Tower was built for a World's Fair type thing in Paris, and so it was, they had completed in the U.S. the Washington Monument 1 year before. So for only 1 year, the Washington Monument was the tallest human structure ever built, and then they completed the Eiffel Tower the next year, and that overtook it. So that's fun facts of history. But yes, no, with Disney, this goes back to antitrust. There shouldn't be like, it's like Comcast, NBC, Universal. Those should be three completely separate companies. They should not be, you know, owned by the same group of, you know, rich assholes in New York.
Disney fucking sucks.
Yeah, so I don't know. I hope they stop them from buying the 20th Century movie branch. I mean, what was interesting, and you know what might be part of this too, is 20th Century Fox actually still owns the copyright for the original Star Wars. That they maintained that even when they did the wholesale Lucasfilm to Disney, you know, 4 or 5 years ago. Because the original, of course, still makes so much goddamn money, and it was, you know, obviously financially advantageous for them because they knew Disney would then start packaging up a new Blu-ray set and a new this and a new that, and because of whatever legal things that George Lucas signed when he made the original movie, they obviously are going to hold on to that golden goose.
Oh yeah.
So it's crazy. All the finances behind art and creativity, like things like that, is mind blowing.
Yeah.
So you want to hear some other bullshit that Disney likes to pull?
Oh,
the bullshit of the Disney Vault.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, the Disney Vault is basically Disney puts in their classical movies, and then they release them every 7 years or so, and in like the newest form that's available. So I think the most recent one that was released from the Disney Vault was The Lion King. And they released that on Blu-ray and everything. I remember that actually coming out. Like, my parents were super excited. But until that gets released, you cannot buy The Lion King anywhere unless you find it in like a thrift store or a used video shop. But you cannot find The Lion King brand new unless the Disney releases it from the vault. And the reason why they were doing that, it kind of goes back to when you would have to pay every single time you wanted to see a movie because people didn't have home entertainment systems. And they would release like Snow White and Cinderella every few years and then make a ton of money off of it because the new generation hadn't seen it yet. And the parents were like, oh, I remember this as a kid. Now I want to take my kids to it. And it was super great. And like everything was cool. And then all of a sudden people started having home movies and then Disney realizes, shit, we're losing out on that money. how do we make it back? And so they started the Disney Vault.
Makes sense.
There is absolutely no set criteria for what movie gets put into the vault. They just kind of decide, yeah, this sounds good, we're going to stick it in the vault.
It is like really interesting, like marketing and release controls. I mean, it's sort of similar to the whole McDonald's Big Mac thing, but the Big Mac actually has like a supply side reason that they can only come out with it like 1 month a year is because it's like at the end of like the big pig slaughter harvest. So then they use all the leftover pig parts, and there's only one time a year where they have a decent enough supply to keep cranking out the frickin' McRib patties. These
are so gross.
Yeah. But, the Disney Vault, it's just marketing and control. I mean, there's no actual vault either. It's like, it's all just, symbolic magic bullshit.
It used to be a vault, and then now not anymore because everything is digital.
Yeah.
No, now it's a computer server in a vault.
You know what's interesting with a lot of films, especially old films, a lot of them are kept or exist in like a literal vault in Iron Mountain. Iron Mountain, Pennsylvania is one of the many companies that it's like long-term deep storage of just things. Like there's a lot of original photographs and a whole bunch of stuff in there. And it's like an old salt mine or something in like rural western Pennsylvania. And that's just one location, but it's the most famous because it's the literal Iron Mountain. And it's like a bomb shelter. It's like that Norwegian seed vault where it's just like deep down in the earth, and it's so dry and preservative because it's like a salt mine or something that people keep a bunch of stuff in there.
Why the fuck not?
It's really interesting. Some of those, obviously in the Fallout business, you really think about the long-term storage kind of things, and there's a lot more things like that than people realize.
Oh, yeah, I'd be surprised.
Anyway.
Anywho. So how is everybody in the chat?
Yeah, does the chat have any questions or anything?
I got coffee.
Yes, they have the original tape from Disney Vault sell for $3.5 million.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous.
What's Disney Vault? I've never heard of that.
They spelled vault wrong. Oh, what? Somebody just hopped off. Who hopped off?
I'm not sure.
Back. Are you gonna talk, Kralik, or are you just gonna sit there?
I mean, I can start talking, yeah. That's
kind of the point of the podcast, my dude. You don't just come to sit, you come to talk. You come to contribute.
Come to contribute.
It's like a communal living situation. Everybody contributes to the good of the society, the good of the community. Hashtag socialism.
Oh my god.
I don't see us get any community.
The only thing you cannot talk about is projects that have not yet been released.
Yeah, I have to warn freaking James about that sometimes, because he tiptoes into, spoiler territory sometimes, where I'm like, shut up. But, I don't know.
Yeah, if you have something to tell Sky that has to do with a future project, Kralik, just PM him. And I literally mean PM, not in the podcast chat.
And wake me up before you
go. The podcasters don't need to know about that either yet.
That is true, too.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks, fam. Appreciate. That's the only rule. We can't talk about future projects. Talk about anything else. Don't want to end up like another, production team that, made promises and didn't fulfill them.
Yeah, that's why I really don't like to talk about projects at all until they actually come out, because it's like you don't want to build up hype unnecessarily, especially if you're not going to deliver.
Yeah.
Especially this day and age.
Then you're just the guy who built up hype and didn't deliver.
Yeah, then you're just the asshole.
Yeah. No one likes being the asshole.
Well.
The asshole.
Like No Man's Sky.
That's like a whole nother level. Oh my gosh.
No Man's Sky is just like a space age Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
Yeah, with just as much replayability, completely flash in the pan.
Oh, ain't that the truth, though?
I remember all that hype built around Pokemon Go, and then, like, what was it, 10 months later, they're like, hey, by the way, we've got the legendaries now, and I'm like, what is this? Does anyone remember this game? It's like, oh, great, you waited 10 months to release Mewtwo. Good job.
You know what they're working on now?
The Season 2?
No.
Neo?
They're working on releasing a Harry Potter-style Pokemon Go game.
That's not true. It's actually just a fan thing.
Ah.
I heard that Niantic was working on it.
No, it's not true. So basically what it is somebody put out a fan promo video that is relatively decent and said that Niantic was going to be releasing it. However, I have seen 6 different sources post 5 different dates. Like, it originally came out just after Pokemon Go, and they're like, oh, to be released later in 2017, and then it wasn't released in 2017, so somebody reposted it, and it's like, oh, to be released later in 2018. So it's not true.
Okay.
Yeah, you can Google it.
I am right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just not the kind of game I'm into, but like, I mean, I downloaded it. It's a free app or whatever, and you play it a little bit. It's okay, but it's like, unless you travel a lot, you don't really get much out of it. It's like it feels like a chore having to like pull it out and then walk around your building all day to track down whatever. It's like, I don't have that kind of time, man.
I'm super lazy with it. I just got this thing called a gotcha.
That sounds like a hacks.
It kind of is a hacks. Basically, what?
From 2 days ago, 4 days ago, they're actually making it.
Then that is a new thing.
Kotaku, BBC, CNN, TechCrunch.
Then that is a new thing, because the one that I saw was from about a week ago.
Interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was sitting in the tub and I was super excited because I saw this and I was like, oh, that looks super chill. And then I looked it up and it's like, nope, not real, just a fan thing. I was like, damn it.
Yeah, they're calling it Wizards Unite.
It might be similar to the fan thing, but it might be different.
Are they really calling it Wizards Unite? That's a horrible name.
It's Harry Potter Wizards Unite is the next game from Pokemon Go's Niantic.
Oh my god, that's awful.
Oh. Interesting. Anyway, what was I saying?
Sorry.
You're sitting in a bath?
Oh yeah, I was sitting in a tub and I was like super excited about seeing the Pokemon, the Harry Potter thing because I love Harry Potter. But no, I was talking about the gacha. So the gacha is this little wristband thing, and it automatically catches and collects everything for you. So basically all I do is I go in while I'm on the bus, on my way to work, and I get rid of any Pokemon that don't have the right moveset that I want, and I just keep the OP'd stuff, and I use it in... Huh?
RIP, R.I.P.
Yep. I just use the OP'd stuff, and I just stick them into my own little gym right near my house, and I just upkeep that one gym, and I get a shit ton of gold.
Nice.
Because I upkeep that one gym.
We are getting some questions in the chat. Has anyone played Nier Automata on the call?
No, never heard of it.
No, never.
I played it. It's a lot of fun.
What is it like? Like, what is the gameplay style of it?
It's more hack and slash kind of thing.
So it's not turn-based?
No, it's full on just action, live or not turn-based.
Okay. I don't know. I always have like I have like a Final Fantasy VII impression of most Japanese games, where I assume they're all like turn-based RPG, or like what was the new ones, the Persona series.
Actually, there is a turn-based game that I do recommend. It's called Divinity.
What are you saying?
2.
Can anybody else hear him?
He's really quiet.
Extremely quiet.
Oh my god, I can't believe it. Wizards Unite.
Krellic, speak up. We can't hear you.
Testing.
There you go.
There you go.
Better.
There you are.
That's much better.
As I was saying, there's a neat turn-based game called Divinity Original Sin 2. I already stayed up most of the night trying to play it. It's pretty fun.
I've heard of that. Never played it though.
Yes, I too have heard of that, but I haven't played it. And I don't consider myself a gamer. I play like Fallout in different large quantities of time, and that's about it. I don't even play Halo much anymore.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. I'm a gamer in the same way that an old boomer that has one Apple computer is a techie.
Oh my god, fucking okay. So I work as a cell phone tech support agent now.
Oh my god.
And it is probably the worst job I've ever worked.
Yeah.
My company caters to mostly old people.
Oh my god.
And these are old people who don't know how to use technology.
I'd rather die.
But they think that they know how to use technology. So, like, I mostly answer emails, and on occasion I'll, take phone calls if I feel like it, but mostly I answer emails. And a lot of the emails I get are, why is it taking so long for me to get an answer from somebody? Now, we're backlogged, okay? We have, like, 7,000 emails when I left work on Thursday. We have 7,000 emails that we need to get through. And we're about a week behind or so. So all of the emails that we have are from, like, last week.
Oh, no.
And they're really bad. And so this one guy, my desk has become a meme desk. And basically, I just make memes based off of the customers that I get for the day. And one day, it just seemed like I kept getting a lot of email about hacks. Oh, my account's been hacked, or is my account hacked, or how can I tell if my account is hacked? And this one guy is like, why is it taking so long for me to get an answer from you guys? Is my account hacked? Has Consumer Cellular been hacked? What's going on? And I sat there, pulled up Google, pulled up the little word, like, paint that we have in there, and I quickly made, you keep using that word, but I don't think you know what it means. Print it out, and now it's packed into my desk.
Awesome.
And then another one is a lot of people have been emailing us about when the iPhone 10 is getting released, and we're not told these things. We're not told when the iPhone, whenever gets released with our company. We're told when it gets released to the public in general from Apple, but we're not told when it gets released to our customers. So one guy emailed us and says, when are you going to have the iPhone X available for purchase, and can you notify me via email about this? We can't do that. That's something we can do. I'm in a higher position in the company, and I can't do that. So I told him, I said, I'm sorry, but at this time we don't have any word about when we're going to be releasing it, and we are unable to give you notifications via email about it. He marked my chat as bad, which affects my stats. And he goes, this is such bullshit. I don't believe that you don't know when you're going to get it. And other companies are letting you pre-order now. And so I made a mocking SpongeBob meme, and it says, other companies are letting us pre-order the iPhone X. Why aren't you?
Nice.
It's my passive-aggressive way of just, like, getting, like, I get a little bit salty at the customers sometimes. Because I'm just like, are you kidding? One lady threatened to sue me over 25 cents.
Oh, jeez.
I'm not even joking. Over a quarter. So she emails, and she ends up getting another person before me. And she emails and she says something like, I know all of my usage. I don't believe that I used more than a minute worth of talk time. So I don't think I should have to pay for 2 minutes. We bill in arrears, meaning they pay for the service after they use it. So the service she is talking about is from the previous month, not from the current month. And so she is told by another representative that the charges are valid because we use a 3-point system to ensure that she is being billed for the correct amount of time. And the only way that she can be billed for more is if somebody physically uses the phone. And, without her permission. And she starts getting mad about it, and she starts saying how we're a bad company and how we treat our elderly customers like shit, and that we're going to end up losing a paying customer over 25 cents. And she goes, do you want to keep my business? And, like, I wanted to say this, but obviously I couldn't. But I was like, not with that kind of attitude. Jesus, you're sour. And a lot of people, like, email us about that. Like, oh, do you want to keep my business? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? If you want me as a customer, you'll do this. Or if you want me to be a customer, you'll do that. And it's just like, I don't want you to be a customer if you're going to start making threats, because I don't make threats with terrorists. Or I don't
negotiate with terrorists.
Yeah. One dude, like, started screaming at me over the phone. Like, full-on screaming at me. Mm-hmm. And so I put myself on mute, and I just put the headphone down. Because he was so loud I could hear everything he was saying with the headphones down on the desk.
Oh, that's
And so when he was done, I picked them back up, and I put them back on, and I unmuted myself, and I said, sir, I'm sorry you feel that way, but that's not how this works. Let me explain, and then we can... Takes headphones off, puts them back on the desk, mutes himself, lets him keep going. I'm sitting there playing Minesweeper. And then eventually he stops, and I pick the headphones up and start talking again. And, sir, I'm really sorry that you had this experience, but please allow me to explain. Puts the headphones back and starts reading. He stops, picks the headphones back up. Sir, I'm gonna have to ask you to stop yelling and keep the call professional, or else I will have to disconnect. I don't give a shit what you fucking say. Delete it. Just hang up. Done.
Yeah.
He calls back later and gets somebody else and starts complaining about how I was rude and everything, and they listen back to the call and they're like, "Yeah, no, you're fine."
That guy sounds like one grade A crazy train.
It really is, and, like, older people say that younger people are entitled. No. The older generation is what is entitled.
Oh, like, yeah. No, that's a meme, too. It's like the boomers trying to talk bad about millennials. It's like, don't even start, you fucking boomers.
Oh, Lord. I will never work in a call center.
See, like, usually I don't mind because I'm just dealing with emails, and so if I don't feel like dealing with a particular email, I'll just put it in my timeout box and deal with it tomorrow.
Yeah, sums it up.
Oh, but it's fucking ridiculous. Like, the shit people say to me, I'm just, like, rude. Like, one of the first chats that I got, it was this guy named Richard, and I remember his name was Richard because I kept calling him Dick. Because he was a dick.
And because his name was Richard.
Yeah, and because his name was Richard. But he emailed or he messaged, because we also have a chat messaging system where people can ask us like sales questions and shit. We can't do tech support over chat. We can't do looking at your account via chat. We can tell you how much a certain plan is going to cost you. That's about it. Mm-hmm. And so I'm on the chat with this dude, and he starts asking me if I can look at his account and look at his usage. And I say, I'm sorry, sir, I'm not allowed to look at I'm unable to look at your usage via chat due to security concerns. If you would like, you can call this number, and if you would like, you could call this number, and they can give you all the information you would like. And he's just like, this is bullshit. Just like a fucking woman, you won't do shit, will you?
Oh, snap.
Oh.
And I was just like, sir, I'm going to have to ask you to keep the chat professional, or else I will disconnect. And he goes, no, is this fucking company run by a bunch of women or a bunch of fucking illegals? Sir, I'm going to ask you one more time to keep the chat professional. And he goes, no, I don't appreciate it. And then he starts letting off a bunch of racial slurs. All right, sir. Due to your responses, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the chat. Have a great day. Disconnected. He got me again.
Oh my gosh.
Apparently I was the only one in chat at this time.
Oh, jeez.
Got me again. And he goes, I don't appreciate you doing this. I feel disrespected. And I'm like, sir, I don't appreciate you being disrespectful. No, you fucking racial slur. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm tired of you disrespecting me. What kind of fucking bullshit is this, sir? Please stop. All of our customer service is US based, blah blah blah, all this shit. He goes, no, you must be some kind of fucking illegal in Mexico, and da 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 da. And I'm just like, God damn it. Okay, disconnected the chat. Disconnect the chat. Got me again. Got me a third time. Richard was not done.
Jeez.
He goes, answer my fucking... Are you an illegal? Sir, as I said before, all of the tech support and agents you will speak to are US based. Went off the whole little spiel that we have. I'm not saying what racial slur. That is something I will avoid doing. But it was just ridiculous.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Yeah, no, tech support's terrible.
You can't know unless you say it. Well, hey, guess what? I was saying illegal and Mexico, so I'm just gonna go ahead and let you assume what racial slurs he was using.
Yeah, I know that one all too well. I've been called that plenty of times.
Yeah, it's like I'm not going to repeat them because one, I don't like them being said because a lot of my family is like Hispanic on my stepdad's side. So I don't appreciate them being said. And two, I'd rather not get this podcast demonetized because I'm using racial slurs. We all know what happens when PewDiePie said it.
Oh my god.
And PewDiePie is huge. Imagine what would happen to us, and we are tiny.
Yeah, there's someone at the Wall Street Journal really freaking hates PewDiePie.
It's PewDiePie.
Dude, I'm just gonna ignore you because I don't appreciate you right now.
But yeah, so we have Zebra. We have a lot of holiday stuff in the works. Like I said before, we have just, crazy number of freaking stuff planned for Wasteland Survival Guide. I'm really happy. Like it really is like going to be a fully functional Wasteland Survival Guide, which was always my end game.
That's super exciting.
Cool.
Hopefully my work will be appreciated because I don't feel appreciated.
No, everyone loves Needle.
Yeah. Just cool.
Actually, James is very jealous that everyone loves Needle and recognizes me more than they recognize him. And you know what would fix that is if James showed up to the call like he said he would. But no. It's also tricky too because I can't delete like our characters from the podcast art because they're like built into the background sort of, so they have to stay there no matter what. Yeah, 33 podcasts. Oh my god. I sort of gave up on turning them into audio files because the live stream really like simplified things. Because in the old days when we weren't live streamed the podcast, I had to convert and edit the audio files before we could load it onto YouTube. So then I was able to just put the podcasts on the Bandcamp for download or whatever, which I think really only I downloaded. But yeah, at this point, it's just too much work.
Does anybody even know that we have a Bandcamp? Because I didn't know.
Yeah, it's like whenever you click the download, most of the videos you'll see in the downloads, it links to our Bandcamp for if you want to purchase, or we usually have a free version in Mediafire also. Nobody
wants to purchase it. They want their free entertainment.
Yeah.
That's why they come to YouTube. That's why we have ads!
Yeah. It's something. And Patreon.
I know that like a bunch of people have been like complaining about the ads, especially since they tend to pop up while we are podcasting.
Oh, really?
But,
I always wondered how that worked.
Yeah, some of the ads pop up while we are podcasting. But people need to remember that's how we are able to like put out free content. That's how we are able to hire on people who have a lot of experience and work with us.
Mm-hmm.
Is we have the money to do it because of the ads and the Patreon. So # go support the Patreon. You can get onto the podcast and talk. Unlike Krillak, who continues to be quiet.
Well, yeah, I was busy listening to your story.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting story. Yeah. Fucking, I love and hate my job.
Yeah, the one most frustrating time I think I've ever had with tech support was Western Digital, which I think I've complained about them on podcasts in the past, but it's like, just don't ever buy Western Digital. Oh, also, Blue microphones. Don't ever, if you buy one and it's broken, make sure you can take it to, like, Amazon or back to a store and not have to send it back to Blue because their tech support people are terrible. Oh my gosh. It's
I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's interesting. No, definitely like you want to be professional enough, but at the same time, some tech support it's frustrating. So
what's really frustrating is like when customers don't understand that we're doing the best that we can.
Yeah, that's the important thing.
Because, as I said, I am working with an older generation of people who don't entirely understand how phones work.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And so I was explaining to this one gentleman that if he wants to transfer his contacts wirelessly, he can do so via Bluetooth. And he started saying, oh, I can't do that because the phone's deactivated, it no longer has a SIM card, blah, blah, blah. And I politely explained to her, your phone doesn't need to have a SIM card in order to be able to send things via Bluetooth. Bluetooth does this, and this, and, you can only send things wirelessly if with a SIM card for these things. And he goes, you know what? Fuck it. Never mind. I don't give a shit anymore. I'm just like, sir, why are you mad? I explained that this is how Bluetooth works. Why are you angry at me all of a sudden?
Yeah, it's funny. They think there's like the one call or whatever, but it's like most phones have like 5 different antenna. You've got your near field antenna, you've got your Bluetooth, you've got the normal 3 or 4G like cell system, you have the GPS. It's all very complicated. And yeah, trying to explain that to like a freaking old person or boomer is painful.
It is. Like the boomers especially, they seem to think that just because you have good talk means you're going to have good data as well, which is not true at all.
No, the opposite sometimes.
And so I have to slowly explain that's not how this works. There are several different antennas in the phone, one for this, one for this, one for this, one for this. The antenna that's picking up call and text are on this kind of network. and the one for data is on this kind of network, and if you're close to this kind of tower, then you will get this kind of... And I just have to explain all of that, and this one guy got really mad because he's like, I don't understand why I have perfect call and text when I was in the middle of the Nevada desert, but absolutely no bars for Wi-Fi or for data, so I can't use a GPS, and it's just like... I just explained this. He goes, well, it doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry, you don't understand.
It's even funnier when you have like an infrastructure side evolution. Like I remember, was it 2010 or 2011 where they were like all the networks were like mainlining their 4G over their old 3G networks, and so then like a lot of the older phones just weren't working anymore because they're shutting down the old systems to replace them with the new ones, and so I had a friend who he still had like one of his original like Razor cell phones from like 2004, and he's like, yeah, they told me I can't use my phone anymore. It's like, well, yeah, it's not, there's no infrastructure to talk to it. Like, that's the thing a lot of people don't realize with like technology or the internet especially is like, you know, they'll hold up their phone and be like, iPhones are the best thing of the ever. It's like Star Trek. And of course they say iPhones because they can't even fathom that there are other smartphones besides iPhones. And so they say that, and then they completely like, yeah, again, you take it out in like a highway or in Wyoming or something, and suddenly the phone is just sort of a black rectangle. It doesn't do anything. They're like, why doesn't it do anything? It's because technology is the infrastructure. It's the network. It's like, you think the internet is your computer or the little black box that says Comcast or whatever? No, the internet are these giant warehouses of servers and towers with so much cold refrigerant being pumped through them and so many fans running to deliver that information from corner to corner of the world through these deep underwater cables that are carrying like terabits of information per second. And even with satellites, like, you know, people think about satellites and they come into play sometimes, but 99.99% of data is still transferred through those undersea cables. And it's like, just like, it's one of those mind-blow things. Like, people really don't understand the infrastructure of modern technology.
It's so bad. I had one guy think that, like, the type of phone that he had would affect the type of signal he got, which is not true at all. And so I explained to him, I said, no, sir, you know, if you have an iPhone, it's not going to work any differently than Android. You know, the only thing that's going to work is if you have one carrier or the other. And he goes, I'm pretty sure it's because I have an iPhone, and I'm not going to buy a new iPhone, or I'm not going to buy a new phone. I'm happy with my Android. I'm just going to switch my servers. And I was like, okay, sir, who do you plan on switching to? AT&T. Well, sir, I can tell you right now that you are already running on AT&T networks.
Speaking of
my
AT&T,
company runs off of both AT&T and T-Mobile. So if AT&T doesn't work, we will usually switch you to T-Mobile. And if T-Mobile doesn't work for you, then we will suggest going to a different carrier. But it's fucking ridiculous. And then another guy was like mad at me because he couldn't send emails to his phone via text message. Which, why would you want to do that in the first place? And then I explained to him, I said, it's because you're still using AOL, and AOL doesn't have the proper settings in order to be able to do that. If you want to do that, I would suggest switching to a newer email provider, such as Gmail or Yahoo. And he goes, no, I'm pretty sure it's because I don't have unlimited texting. No, sir. It's not how this works. I'm pretty sure it's because I don't have unlimited texting. And I'm not going to get unlimited texting. Bruh.
I'm surprised you can find a plan that doesn't have unlimited texting anymore. It's like, you know, all the cost in cell phones is the data now, so usually almost every plan has unlimited calls and texts.
Well, so see, we recently switched over to have unlimited texting, but some customers were grandfathered into the old plans, which were a certain amount of texting, and this particular gentleman only had a 300 text message limit. Just because he doesn't use that much.
Yeah.
He sends maybe 3 or 4 text messages a month. And then no data. But now our lowest plan is 250 megabytes of data and unlimited texting.
Yeah.
And that's for $5.
Nice.
No, I'm the same way where I probably only like make 100 texts a month, maybe. So I really I wouldn't need it either. Even in the old days when we did pay for, so many minutes shared between a family. It sounds so archaic these days, but yeah, we'd pay for 1,000 minutes split on the family plan and 1,000 text messages. And I'm like my mom, she uses up half of them because she's texting all the family and the aunts and stuff. But me and my dad, it's you coming over later? Yeah. Okay, see you then.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Oh my god. So yeah, it's funny. I'm just glad the companies are that unlimited data is starting to come back into play again, because there was that one time where everything was all the networks were trying to shut off unlimited data unless it was a special selling point. I don't know.
Yeah.
I got unlimited data with Sprint back in 2013, and they took it off shortly after I got it. But because I had it when they took it off, I was grandfathered into it.
Yeah. I had that with Verizon for a long time, for 2 or 3 years, and it still felt like they started throttling after a certain 20 gigs probably, but it was nice to have. But then I really wanted a new phone. I was getting so sick of my old Razer Max HD.
Gross.
And that's where they get you.
Thankfully, if I switch my phone, they're not gonna take me off of the grandfathered plan.
That's good.
So I have unlimited text and unlimited everything. I think for $60.
Yeah, things are becoming more modular and bundled again, which I honestly like that, because I feel like it's a lot more options for people to then just build the plan that works for them. I think of television, in the old days, if you had cable, which I don't know anyone our generation that does have cable anymore, but you buy a package and you're okay, I have 100 channels, I watch 10 of them. I don't want to pay for all these other channels. Can I just pay for the 10 I actually watch? So it's interesting. Market forces, the invisible hand.
Yeah, I don't have cable. I just use YouTube and Netflix and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And if there is something that I really, really want to watch, that's on TV and not yet on the interwebs, I usually ask my friend Cole to borrow his Xfinity TV.
Nice.
Because you can stream that from a computer.
Well, and a lot of websites, too, they'll post the episode 2 or 3 days after it airs on TV, and you can watch it totally legally on their, NBC.com/video or whatever.
Yeah. I tried to watch Game of Thrones on HBO, right? Everything else on HBO runs just fine, but Game of Thrones does not. It lags so hardcore, it's not even funny.
They really need to devote more server data bandwidth to Game of Thrones, because that's going to be 60% of their streaming.
It's so bad. I think I get maybe 3 or 4 frames a second with Game of Thrones. And then if I switch it down to be a lower quality, I get maybe 5 or 6.
That's awful.
It's so bad. So I was not able to watch Game of Thrones almost at all unless I went to a friend's house.
See, yeah, I'd have to just not. I'd have to just wait a few days when, people wouldn't be watching it as much or something. That would be awful.
Actually, speaking of Game of Thrones, the director guy from that series is doing a new one doing a new show called Damnation on USA. It's actually pretty good.
Oh, neat. Is it one of the DBYs or David Benioff, one of those guys?
I think, I'm not sure which one. This says from the director of Game of Thrones, Damnation.
That's cool.
It's basically about a farmer strike in Iowa.
That sounds weird.
Yeah, it's an interesting premise. I remember when AMC had their Hell on Wheels, like train, like period piece story, and it's like, I like the idea in concept, but it's hard. You have to be very careful with certain period pieces to execute them right. It's about like being faithful but being entertaining. Like, actually, over Halloween, I saw a movie that I think bridged that gap perfectly, and that was The Witch, or The Vivitch, because it has the 2 V's. And that was a really neat movie about like really early like English colonial settlement in America, and they get cast out of their community, and they think one of them's a witch, and then they're just living on their own, and then there is a witch, the Vivitch.
Burn the witch.
Yeah, so that was interesting, and the accents too, they were really authentic.
Apparently, they're doing a Lord of the Rings series.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
And it's live action, and it's going to be similar to like Game of Thrones. But right now, with like legal battle that's going over it, it's expected to be the most expensive TV show ever made.
Oh
That's
man.
gonna suck.
I think it's like right now going through like a $250 million contract or something like that.
Damn.
Sounds about right.
It's
ridiculous. Like, I'm kind of excited, but at the same time, extremely skeptical.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that.
I think it'd be super cool because I love Lord of the Rings, and it, if they pull it off, it would probably be fantastic, especially with how big of a budget they have. But at the same time, don't fuck it up, bruh.
Oh, they're gonna fuck it up. I can already tell. It's just like The Hobbit. It's like literally like almost the same group of people, and they couldn't even do that much. So it's like, even if they have fresh blood, like a fresh interpretation, I have no faith in that. I really think the Peter Jackson trilogy was just like lightning on a bottle kind of thing, that everything just went right. But we'll see. Well, we'll see. Maybe it'll have
Peter
its own
Jackson's
thing.
supposed to be a part of it.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, apparently. At least from what I read.
Hobbit movies too, though.
I take things that I read with a grain of salt.
Yeah, the one thing I'm curious about is coming up on Netflix. I remember an article like a year or two ago where they're talking about Netflix's Game of Thrones, which translates to the show Netflix was pouring oodles of money in to make it their giant Game of Thrones epic show. And it's based on a novel, a fairly recent novel called Altered Carbon. It's a very cyberpunk, Ghost in the Shell.
Told me about that.
Oh, maybe you did. I did. Yeah, so I got the book, and I've been listening to the first couple chapters, and it is a really neat, like, very cyberpunky concept, so I'm hoping they do it right. And I feel like right now is a good time where there's a lot of, like, demand for cyberpunk, that if they pull it off, it's going to be stellar. It's starring, the main guy is that, that Swedish guy who was in the terrible RoboCop remake, and he was in that Killing TV show. But, I mean, he's a good guy. He was the Navy SEAL from Suicide Squad also. He is a good actor. He just is getting some weird parts. So I'm hoping for the best. I like it so far from what I've listened to. It's like everyone, like, I think when you're 18 or whatever, basically when you're stopped growing, then they build their stack. It's like a data coupler in the back of your neck. And so all your thoughts and memories and your consciousness is just running through this. It's all in the data. And so you've got a whole tier of like rich people that they have a wireless, through Wi-Fi, their brain gets backed up to, some company every night. And people, they just they go through their bodies. I think they call them sleeves. So when your original birth body dies, they just download your brain into a new body. And, it's really interesting. Like, they just take that to its fullest extent. So I'm interested to see where that goes.
That does sound pretty cool.
Especially with all the money they're pouring into it, that translates to, the visual effects, obviously. So that's good, because you want to make the visuals look good, otherwise you're going to end up with a Sci-Fi Channel show.
You get Doctor Who.
I know. Doctor Who is such a devoted fan base, but, you know, I tried it during the reboot with, what's his name, and then David Tennant, and I get the appeal, but at the same time, oof, that's hard to get through.
Someone's typing.
Sorry, that's me.
So there's the possibility that AT&T and Time Warner are merging.
I would not be surprised because Time Warner fucking sucks.
I really hope
only if one of the one sells CNN. The Department of Justice is blocking it.
Yeah, that's Time Warner, and it's the same reason they almost blocked the NBC Universal merger, or Comcast Universal merger, because you've got. Again, it's like monopolization. You've got a company owning like every part of the pool now, so
that's exactly what it is, and that's why they're blocking it.
Yes, and it's good. It's what they should have done with Universal and NBC and Comcast, but I don't know. I'm hoping we can start rolling out a big antitrust like push like they did in the early 10s and 20s, because America's gone through this before. we had the same problem with railroads and telephones, where you had a handful of Rockefellers that were just like rich bastards, and it's like capitalism doesn't work if you have one super monopoly that can buy out all the little companies that are trying to get their way into the market. So it's like it was the same way with oil, Standard Oil, which was one of Rockefeller's main ventures. Or, you know, you say you have random Pennsylvania farmer. He strikes oil in his yard, so he's going to be, you know, Quaker Co. oil or something. And he can't get into the market because if he sells his oil at, you know, 10 cents a gallon, Rockefeller can just drop his oil prices to 5 cents a gallon because he's got this giant, you know, gold pile that he can do that for a little while. And then once Quaker Co. is gone or he buys them out, then he can lift the price to whatever he wants. That's why monopolies are bad. And we had to roll in antitrust laws. And we essentially have the same thing in too many industries these days between Google and Apple and technology. And both of them have ridiculously giant bank accounts that they keep offshore also. This goes back to that whole Panama Papers thing. And it's like, and then they try to gallivant around like there's some kind of moral authority. It's like, give me a fucking break.
You triggered Sky!
Yeah, that kind of stuff pisses me off because it's like, there's no reason we can't have more of the mom and pops if not for the existence of these giant hegemonies. And it's like, that's wrong. We want more of the mom and pop type small businesses, but yeah, it's I don't know. It's one of those things
it's like, yes, we want more of the mom and pop, but at the same time, people are going to stick with what they are familiar with. I can tell you that just from working for a smaller cell phone company. People are used to being with a company for several years, and then suddenly when they have to deal with customer service again in order to get their number transferred over, they don't want to deal with it, so they just say, fuck it, we're staying here.
Yeah, that's why it's like, I think regional atomization is a good approach. They did that with both electricity and oil, where they told Standard Oil, it's like, no, you can't be giant global, you know, oil hegemony anymore. So they broke it up into a ton of pieces, and so from the death of Standard Oil, you get Mobil and Exxon and Chevron if you're on the West Coast, and some of the other companies that have sort of died out or changed names, like was it Coleco, California Energy Concern or whatever. It was actually California Oil that started, they made the first wells, the first drilling in Saudi Arabia. So California Oil became Saudi Aramco when they nationalized the industry in the 80s. Which is why, like, Gulf wealth has exploded just in the last few decades, because that's when they essentially bought out the Western firms that actually started the operations. God.
Blah. Blah. I think I need more coffee.
Yeah?
Yeah, I might need more coffee. Your talking is putting me to sleep, Sky.
Yeah, I still feel like we haven't found a good podcast time yet either. This is not going to become the new standard, I can already tell.
I mean, I don't mind it. I did prefer the 11 o'clock. I think I might start doing Cast more often too. Now that my schedule is kind of set and I'm not doing ridiculous amounts of overtime. I'm still doing ridiculous amounts of overtime, but I'm doing it during my normal work week. I'm just adding an hour or two onto my schedule, and then on Fridays I'll do like 4 hours, and then I'll go home.
Yeah. I still think we need to do the reverse, where we plan out better and we have people commit to a time. So then every podcast that happens, we've got everyone, and we've got like, you know, a lot of things to talk about because they're between, you know, every 2 weeks or whatever.
But we tried that, and we've been asking people, what time do you prefer? And nobody ever says anything. And so we get the same 2 people on the podcast all the time, which is fine. But the people who are never on need to have a chance.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's like we need the cycling of people for you know, to bring in new voices, to bring in new ideas and talking points, because otherwise it's like, it's just, we get caught in the same cycles.
True.
So I don't know. We'll talk about it. Find something different to do.
No, I don't want to find something different to do. Don't tell me how to live my life.
So, about that new Star Wars movie.
Yeah, we could talk about that.
Oh, God.
What new Star Wars movie?
I think Rey's going to turn to the dark side.
I think everybody's going to turn to the dark side.
I'm avoiding the trailer, so...
I haven't even seen the new one with Kylo Ren. I haven't even seen Rogue One. Like, I haven't seen either of them.
Yeah, I'm voting for Kylo Ren to win.
I mean, it would be a nice change if they actually made the bad guy win this time.
They might as well. They've already said there's going to be a new trilogy. So. Yeah, so they could have him win, and then the new trilogy is working back from there. God.
They're totally screwing the universe, and I'm not happy about it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what they did with Luke for the first... I mean, the entire Force Awakens completely ruined the whole second half of the universe. Like, if people hate the prequels but are okay with the modern ones, it's like you really haven't thought about it that much, because the modern ones... They completely destroyed the end of the original trilogy. So they won independence, you know, they killed the Emperor and they stopped the second Death Star. And there was no change to the universe. It's like this First Order just kept on going. They built something even bigger than the second Death Star. And it's like nothing changed.
Planet.
Right away, they blew up whatever the New Republic was, that Halcyon system or whatever, with... Again, for goddamn J.J. Abrams, who has no concept of space and time, so somehow, you know, all 8 planets are, like, right next to each other, literally. It's just like with the new Star Trek movie, where it's like, oh yeah, the black hole's coming, and you got, like, so many years or whatever. It's like, that's not how space works.
Wait, which new Star Trek movie?
The one from 2009.
Oh, I love that, because they went back in time. It's a completely different timeline.
No, I know, but it's like the how space works, like how what's his name? Spock was on the planet just sitting there, and he just watches Vulcan die. It's like, that's not a moon of Vulcan, because Vulcan doesn't have moons. So I was like, where the hell is that planet, and why isn't it getting caught up in the black hole of the red goo that killed Vulcan? It's
very true. Like, how did he witness that?
Yeah, and so it's the same thing with the new Star Wars.
Well, my theory on that black hole thing is that I have a theory on that. My theory is that artificial black holes are not as powerful as natural ones. So the reason why Spock was able to see his planet get destroyed by that black hole is because the artificial black hole from that red stuff is not as powerful as a natural one.
Well, yeah, they only used a single drop, but the problem is there was no planets near Vulcan. Vulcan doesn't have any moons, so how did he see it?
Like, that's where the hole in your theory is, Carl. Like, there are no moons. There are no close planets. Vulcan is its own entity.
Yeah,
Vulcan's alone out there.
Simple ways to fix that. It's like, put them on a ship instead of a planet. Or like, in the new Star Wars, here was another problem. So they go into light speed, hyperspace, but there's no cuts. So they show... like, unbroken, she's sitting there in hyperspeed for, like, 30 seconds or whatever, and then she breaks out of it, and she's at wherever the hell Luke is. It's like, it completely sets like this concrete parameter on how hyperspeed works, which is very unrealistic, versus what the original movies did, where you have cuts, you go to the B storyline.
It's like the warp. It's like they went to warp. There's time passing.
Ludicrous speed.
Yeah, I mean, you know, think of the Millennium Falcon. It's got beds and everything. That's not just when they're, you know, they're sleeping, hanging out in space or orbiting a planet. It's because it takes more than a few seconds, even within hyperspace, to get around.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's something that they could have fixed so easily just with a cut. And then they also completely destroyed Luke's character in the sense that why the hell would he go away for like 20 years? And all of these problems are just because they were remaking the original movie, because that's all it was a freaking soft reboot. And it's like if they had just come up with an original goddamn story, they wouldn't have had these giant plot holes.
Well, that's the whole thing with Luke. Luke disappeared because the school got massacred.
Yeah, because Kylo Ren went all freaking Columbine on the rest of the, you know, Jedi class of...
Yeah. But that's why he disappeared.
The steps of Vader.
He felt responsible, so that's why he left.
Well, yeah, and that doesn't make sense. He's the last Jedi, so what, he thinks he can, like, remove all of, like... I don't know. It makes...
They loosely based it on some of the actual books that were written. It did actually happen in the book canon.
Well, yeah, there was, the Dark Empire, like, storyline?
Yeah, the X-Wing storyline and all that. The back from way back when. Luke did have a tragedy at the school. So... that's why they were loosely basing it off both fan works to not piss people off and doing their own thing.
Yeah,
well, guess what? They piss people off, so...
Yeah, they have to do some major explaining or retconning in the new one to, like...
They should be. From what I understand, that's a big focus of the new movie.
Because it's like, so what? Luke is just sitting in this temple for 20 years just meditating like he's, you know, Mahatma Buddha or whatever? Like,
from what I understand, that is actually the original Jedi temple, the very first one.
Oh.
So, there's a lot of stuff going on that I hope they explain.
Yeah, and then there's also Snoke, who has no explanation there, so that's...
I know we're getting an answer on him.
And Kylo Ren... Kylo Ren was probably my favorite character, just because he was new and interesting, and he had, like, reason for doing the things he did. It's like, okay, yes, so he has this, like... you know, worship of his grandfather, so that makes sense. He's trying to live out, like, you know, his family cause or whatever, and he latched onto the Vader thing more than the Luke thing, or Han and Leia thing, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll be honest. What won me over was that opening shot where he catches the blaster bolt in midair. That was cool. That kind of won me over. And I really love the look of the crossguard lightsaber, too. Like, I know a lot of nerds got all, like, mad about how does that work with the lightsaber. It's like, it's exhaust. You see it when he turns on the lightsaber. Yep. It's like saber energy exhaust. And it's
because his is cracked.
Yes, because it's shitty, because he doesn't know what he's doing yet. But it looks so cool like that. It reminded me of the first Force Awakens, where you can have the imperfect kyber crystals that have like a, you know, an imperfect wavelength or whatever to them.
Yeah.
That's cool shit. He's a neat character, and I know, of course, yeah, he's whiny and blah, 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 Anakin and stuff, but it's like...
angsty teenager!
He's neat. The other funny thing, and this is I just feel bad for frickin' Adam Driver, but when you see his Marines photo, you know, they had to shave his head because Marines, he does have the most giant Dumbo ears ever. And again, I'm saying this, I love the guy and I love the character, but that's why his hair is like this giant majestic mane, is because he's got these ears that could take off to hyperspace.
Oh, Lord.
I think it was good casting though, because he has that same sort of nose that frickin' Han, whatever his name is, has. He does legitimately look like a son of him and Leia to me. I don't know.
He looks like it could be possible.
Yes, it's within the realm, and then then Carrie Fisher out of nowhere kind of passed. So it sounds like they already kind of had her parts finished. So
they did. They had her approval before she passed away to kind of do a CGI. So they finished her out with CGI stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's sad, but it sounds like they basically had everything together, so it's not like a Dark Knight Rises situation where they have to change the entire final movie because your actor died.
Right.
I still want to see, like, in an alternate universe, I'd love to, like, take a portal and see
this one works.
the third Dark Knight movie where Heath Ledger is totally fine and he does the Joker again. I don't know. That'd be neat.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. And potatoes.
Rest in potatoes.
I actually just watched those the other day too, because The Dark Knight was the first Blu-ray I got when I finally got. My first Blu-ray player was my Xbox One, so that was so neat. And of course, it's not as good, but I think it's almost the same. Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. I like them both for different things, and they both bring such an interesting They really rise above being superhero movies. There's so much care and thought put into the story and the production.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, Bane posting by itself is just so fun. He's just going through the CIA motions. You're a big guy. For you. So,
anyway,
does the chat have any questions for us? What's the next thing to talk about?
EQLA.
Yeah, I'd go crazy on that if you want.
Be there or be square. I will be attempting to live stream. I hadn't heard anything from EQLA about being able to get a Wi-Fi password or Wi-Fi access. Hopefully that will be soon.
Yeah, some of those rooms, you just never know when you'll get, like, a signal dark spot, like in BabsCon. There's a few, like, random hallways where your signal drops to, like, half. And it's just, like, the idiosyncrasies of the steel framework of the building and the whole ground floor atrium, like, setup. So.
Right. And we got some special stuff planned. We, meaning I, because nobody else is going to be there with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good shit. If you're going, you should go. And if you're not, then it's going to be later on in the evening. So anybody who's waking up can wake up to the lovely sound of my voice doing a live stream.
Cool.
Yeah. I will attempt to be live streaming from my phone, but don't count on it because I might forget.
Nice.
And because it's your phone?
Well, and because my phone, I've been going through Pokemon Go and deleting a bunch of Pokemon, so I specifically can play a shit ton of Pokemon Go while I'm in Los Angeles, because I know I will be walking around a lot. Speaking of which, I'm waiting for my charger to show up from Amazon, because my other charger from my little walkie thing, it got pumpkin spice all over it.
Pumpkin spice.
That's like the most white girl thing you've ever said.
That really is.
My cell phone charger got ruined when I spilled my pumpkin spice latte on it.
It wasn't a cell phone charger. It was for my Pokemon Go gacha. So it's shaped a lot like a Fitbit. So I was hoping I could just use my Fitbit charger. I can't.
That sucks. What is it, proprietary? It's not just micro USB?
No, it's like this weird, it's got these two little contact points like a Fitbit on the bottom of it. But the contact points for the Fitbit have 2 contact points, whereas the gacha has 3.
That is so stupid.
So I had to order new whatchamajigits. New chargers. Thankfully, it was like $6 for 2 of them. So it wasn't too bad, but I'm kind of mad with how it got broken. I had this reusable cup, right? I thought it was completely sealed. Put it in my bag. Put it, and the charger was in my bag along with a bunch of other stuff. And when I got home, I realized everything was all wet.
Oh.
I was like, why the fuck is everything all wet? And I open it and I'm hit with the smell of pumpkin spice. And I was like, no! So I'm yanking everything out and like shaking it out, trying to see if it'll still work. And then I noticed that the charger is like immersed in just a pool of pumpkin spice. And I was like, God damn it! So I took it out. I let it, I didn't rinse it off. I did take a little bit of water and like try to just get the sticky off of the cord. You know, like just get my fingers wet and then wipe it down. I didn't actually get the thing completely wet. And then I left it out for a couple of days, and then I plugged it in and tried to use it, and it would not charge. So I had to order 2 more, and the gacha itself just died this morning.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, thank God my chargers are on the way, because they were Amazon Prime, so they came in a day.
Nice.
Vito, you are full of interesting stories.
I try to be. My life just sometimes plays out like a soap opera.
And then me and James are in the background with the harpsichord. Burr, 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 burr. Harpsichord is such a weird sounding instrument. Like, the applications are very unique because it's become a hallmark of soap operas and like horror movies or like magic stuff. So it's like now Marvel is finally like, oh yeah, soundtracks and movies are a thing. So, like, in Doctor Strange last year, they're like, okay, let's, like, add something that makes it distinct from all these other generic-y soundtracks we keep putting in movies. So they gave Doctor Strange a harpsichord sort of little, like, tune as his theme. And then now the new Thor movie, they're, like, putting their, like, one pinky toe in the water of like, a synthy score. And so at least it was different. It was interesting. Because it's like, really, except for the 2 Guardians soundtracks and the first Iron Man soundtrack where they use, like song music, all the scores sound like they could be, like, auto-generated by some kind of, like, algorithm. There's no magic. There's no care put into them. They're as generic as they come.
Just like my life!
Whereas DC, they are at least competent with music. So, of course, the Dark Knight trilogy had the Hans Zimmer stuff, and the new Wonder Woman was great. With they took, what's his name, Junkie XL's like Wonder Woman theme, and they made a decent extrapolation of it to the whole soundtrack. So DC knows what they're doing. I'm hoping that means that Justice League will have a really sweet score when that comes out.
I just want to see Jason Momoa shirtless.
Of course.
That is a good-looking man.
Isn't there plenty of that online already?
Huh?
Isn't there plenty of that online already?
That doesn't mean I can't live without more.
I'm excited to see the Flash bits. I always enjoyed. My brother grew up with the Flash character from the '90s, and that was always one of his favorites. And I liked him in the cartoons. So. Yeah, I think this guy, he should be a funny Flash. I'm hoping it works.
I enjoyed the little bit part that he had in Suicide Squad. Just a tiny little bit part.
That was pretty great. I guess they filmed that in like one day where they pulled him off the Justice League lot and they're like, okay, do this real quick. Oh, man.
Ooh, it's not supposed to rain till 9. I might be able to get out on blackjack for a little bit.
Hot. Where are you at now? You're in not in Tigard, in Tacoma?
Yep, I'm in South Tacoma between the base and the dome. I'm like 3 miles, not even 3 miles from the Tacoma Mall.
What's the dome?
The
Tacoma Dome.
What's the Tacoma Dome?
Sunday, you know that.
It's an arena / event space kind of thing.
Okay.
Think Safeco Field, but not sports.
It's for things like monster truck rallies and car shows and concerts.
RV shows, boat shows.
Nice. Yeah, I remember as a kid, I watched a few monster truck shows and stuff at our local big arena, the Arco Arena. That was good times.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, we're approaching the 2-hour mark, so that might be...
Are we?
Yeah, that might be a good time to cut off. Does anyone have 5 more minutes worth of things to say?
Not really.
I'm making a Game of Thrones style chrysalis because I get cold in the winter.
Nice.
I saw that.
Are you going to make her
I
like
got
Arya?
the cape
like
and I got so excited.
Like a girl?
What?
Are you going to make her like Arya because shapeshifter?
I think Sansa.
Okay, yeah.
More Sansa. But I got the cape and I got so excited because I was worried it wasn't going to be long enough. It drags on the floor and I'm 5'9".
Yeah.
I got so excited. I burst through my roommate's door and started flapping the cape like bat wings. Like, look at me!
No, Sansa looked good. Her get up in the last season, she looked very, Lady of the North of Lady Sansa. So then again, what's her name is just freaking tall. She's I think 6'1", and then of course her bright red hair. So it's really good, good visual.
I'm probably gonna get shunned for this, but I have not watched any of Game of Thrones.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Don't feel fine, neither have I.
I haven't had time.
I mean, especially now, it's there's so much to catch up on.
Yeah. I'm also behind on Supernatural. 4 seasons.
I haven't watched Supernatural at all in a while. I think the last thing I saw was Sam went to hell for the first time.
Oh, the first time.
All right.
That was a while ago.
I'm really behind.
That was season 5.
Yep, really behind.
They're going on season 13.
Damn.
Yep, really behind.
Yeah, they have a very devoted fan base.
Hey, it's a fantastic show.
I think they're scheduled for 15 seasons altogether.
Oh
yeah, they're contracted for 15 right now, and God only knows how much more they're gonna do.
It's essentially a soap opera.
They do have a soap opera episode.
Oh God, that one with Gabriel.
Yeah, I remember when I got into Breaking Bad. It was actually right before the last half of the season, and so it was literally I've got into the show. So I spent a month just catching up on Netflix from the beginning all the way up until the end, and then I watched the last 8 episodes air. It was an interesting way to come into a show.
I never finished Breaking Bad.
Oh, you gotta finish
it. I think I got to
good.
season 3, and then I just kind of got bored.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, season 4 is probably the best, and then it kind of starts dropping off in season 5, but then the ending is a really proper crescendo for the story.
I heard about that. It was a good send off.
I totally saw it coming.
Everyone did. I know about the ending. It was bound to happen.
Yeah, no, I like it because, yes, it finally paid off what everyone was expecting, versus Dexter, which went on such a stupid whatever. The whole last season of Dexter should have been the manhunt, and then they capture him, and then the confrontation between him and all these police guys that he's worked with all these years, and then the courtroom and his explanation and everything, and then they fucking electrocute him. That's how it should have ended. This freaking Florida. They shock everyone to death. And so, that's what should have happened. But no, instead they brought in the stupid girl and the stupid kid and the whole subplot about him becoming Lumberjack Joe. It's no.
Lumberjack Joe?
Yeah, he ends the series. He doesn't get caught. He just becomes a lumberjack.
What?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's bull.
It was a very unsatisfying ending.
Didn't he start dating his sister too?
Maybe in fan fiction. No, the sister thing was terrible too, because it was like the first half of the last season was interesting, where the sister found out about him and, like, you know, there's all those emotions at play. That was really interesting. And then the second half, she, like, gets brain damaged and he, like, pulls the plug on her. And, yeah, it's just like it went out.
I'm so out of the loop on that one too. Yeah. I got to about season 3 and then stopped.
That was another. Yeah, season 4 was probably the best with John Lithgow, and then it was kind of like meh for 2 seasons, and then season 6 and 7, or the first part of 7, were really good, and then it dropped off again.
I know. One thing I know is that the gal who played his sister was his ex-wife.
Oh yeah, I think in real life they were married. Yes.
Yeah, they were ex-wife. Yeah,
for a little while. Yeah, that's what happens with shows in Hollywood. They meet someone, they have a little flighty relationship for a few years, and then on to the next show.
At the start, they were exes.
Really?
They had met somewhere else. That's what I heard.
I didn't hear that. I heard that they got to know each other on set, and then they got married at one point, and then, of course, Hollywood marriages, it didn't work out.
Huh. I could see that happening as well.
Yeah, so I don't know. Hollywood's kind of a messed up place, in case people haven't been watching the news.
Yeah.
Simply put.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's a good way to end out on. We'll go out on a whimper into the storm. Thank you everyone for joining us. And we will figure out a more ideal podcast time eventually.
Especially since I'm on a significantly more stable schedule now.
Yeah, I know one thing for sure. I don't think I want to do
not allowed to be on the podcast anymore, Indy.
Okay.
Not allowed.
Yeah, I think consistent timing too. It's like it was better when it was sort of like more spur of the moment, and it seemed like we got more interesting podcasts out of that. I don't know. It's almost too planned now.
That's why Needles get so much so much hype. She just pops up out of nowhere.
Hey guys, what's up?
Okay, so we will talk to all of you guys later.
Oh, where's my bike keys?